Hello everyone, my name is Kyoko, and today I'm going to be talking about how to make money in Crossout, or at least like the ways that a lot of people don't talk about. They're really uncommon ways that are just not really well talked about very much. Um, that's how you really. I'm going to be talking about the ways that you step into relic and legendary territory and things like that. Uh, don't mind my current account balance up here. I've sort of been spinning like bonkers, and so I've got all this. But the first thing I'll talk about is probably I'll talk about factions first. Also, don't mind if there's any like screen tearing or anything. I am using my Xbox account, so you know. But yeah, firstly let's talk about clans because that's the most universal method to make money. Um, Clans, well, like they're hard to get into. To get into a clan, you have to be good at the game, and then you also have to have like a ton of really expensive stuff. So like they're hard to get into. But clans are one of the best ways to make money because you get uranium ore, which is one of the best ores to just get. It's super expensive, very good, and you'll get if you're in the top 10, which be if you're in the top 10, other than the number one spot, you'll get 30 uranium a week, so to say. And then you also get uranium for each win. And additionally, if you're doing these battles and you have Crossout Premium, you'll get scrap metal too, like 200 or so. Like, well, not 200, but a ton. And I have never been in a clan, so I'm not speaking from experience. Well, I mean, I have been in a clan, but I'm not speaking from experience saying I've been in a successful clan. I have not. But I know a lot of people in these really high up clans, and it's all about, well, just being really good at the game and already having practically full relic builds. So this is for something that's for way later in the the game flow, I suppose. It's for the veterans. And the second money method I'll be talking about, and I'll show a couple examples up here in the market, would be flipping items. A lot of people don't flip items. That's why it's super easy to flip items. If we go to my market history, we can see that I buy a ton of. Let me go back a bunch of more pages because this is recent stuff that I've bought to keep, not to sell. If we go back a bunch of pages or so, you'll see that I'm constantly trading like blues and specials. A lot of epics is what you'll see, but a lot of blues is what you'll see as well. You'll see like like selling neutrino. But if we go back, goodness, all this screen tear. But if we go back a page, you'll see I bought a landing gear and I'm buying other blue stuff, like all the other landing gear, ammo packs, all these tires. These are things that go into creating these epics. And so what I'm essentially doing is I'll quickly pull it up in crafting. I know, oh goodness, so much screen tear today, but I will give an example. Sorry for a quick jump cut. I am having some Wi-Fi issues, but a great example would be the Whirl. The Whirl right now it sells for wow, never mind. It's been a hot minute, but it'll sell for probably about 1K 200 if you're lucky. The parts that go into the Whirl are the obviously the crafting requirements like wires, copper, plastic, but then you have stuff like the storm, the tires and the sidekick. You basically, for the most expensive things here, you will buy. Like if we look at this, the tires they cheap, the drone not so much, storm not so much. You'd probably craft the drone. You could buy two tires and maybe get away with buying a storm. It just depends. But you could buy that and then you would just craft this and sell it. That's a great way that I would say running the market. But to get these materials, don't just buy them outright. Either do your raids to get them or buy epic decor. If I'll go to the market, not crafting. I'll stop having screen tear for like 1 millisecond. Yeah, you'll see here, like, if we sort by sold for minimum, we we see things like Fever for 80 coins. That is a bonkers deal. I should probably buy it right now, but I'm not. I'm recording a video at the moment. If you buy things like Fever for 80 coins here, as an example, this. Buying it, you can scrap this and you'll get stuff for scrapping a epic decor. I will quickly show an example in my inventory if I just have an epic decor. If I were to go and salvage this, I would get all these materials out of it. I don't want to salvage this because I like this, but I get all those materials out of it. And those materials, it'd be cheaper to buy this epic decor than to buy the materials associated with it. You get what I'm trying to say? It's a lot to sort of take in, but just buy epic decor for about 115 and under, for at least for the Xbox market. It's different with every market, so keep that in mind. But it's very common for decors that are really cheap to be decors that you see in packs. And that's another thing with crafting. Craft items that have a lot of things in packs. Like if I go to, I think it's Steppenwolf's, and no, not Steppenwolf's. It's where they. Pretty sure it's the Nomads. A good thing to flip is the Chameleon Mark II, because the Chameleon Mark II uses multiple things that are in packs. Like the Maxwell is a relatively cheap one, the Chameleon's a relatively cheap one, not so much on the Storm, but Chameleon Mark II right now goes for 1K 300. You could literally just buy all the items here and buy an epic decor, craft this, you could even boost it and then sell it, not insta sell, but slow sell, and you would still be turning a profit. That is how easy it is to make money. But you have to really know the market, and make sure you know you're working with an item like, let's go to this, and then I'll go to trade. Work with items that you see more buy orders than sell orders. You see this Chameleon Mark II has got 19 sell orders, only 17 buy orders. That means this price is for sure going to go down. Whatever is right here, it's way too competitive, it's going to go down. And you should always look at things by the past 2 weeks and look for this middle mark right here. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to do this with a controller. I'll use my cursor. Look at this middle mark right here. That is basically, if you want to buy below, if you're going to buy a Chameleon Mark II for yourself, you're going to want to buy below this mark. If you want to sell one, you're going to want to sell above this mark. If right now, like this price, 1K 300 is above the mark, and 1K 200 is above the mark. So right now, it's a bad idea to buy it right now. And there's a ton of sell orders and not many buy orders, so the price is definitely going to go down. There's just supply and demand. It's just things like that. Sort by 2 weeks, and then just pay attention to that middle mark. And also, there should always be more buy orders than sell orders if you want to get something quick. The only time not quick, but get something done. The only time I'd recommend is if you go to 24 hours and you see how there's like a ton of spikes moving here. Except for this right here. This is called flatlining. When something is not traded at all, it's not being traded at all. But you want to see stuff like this that's constantly fluctuating, because that means the market is active. There's people doing a bunch of stuff in it. And you would want to take this item and craft it and then sell it when it's a good time. Right now, not a good time. There's 19 sell orders. It's not a bad time. There's 17 buy, which is a lot, but more sell than buy is always really bad. And also, having more buy than sell is good, but you gotta keep in mind you have to have a lot of buy. There should be a minimum of like 10. Because a great, let me head to the market and see if I can show you this example. I don't know if it still exists, but a great example of something you don't want to fall for is the Phoenix. Okay, excuse the jump cut, I had to get to this. But the Phoenix is it's a trap. Do not fall into this market. You might see 810 coins and 1,200 coins. Let me back out. You'll see the return on investment is 33%. That's incredibly high. That is a very high return on investment, 33%, especially when you're dealing with that many coins. 270 profit in one for one item is a lot. Uh, don't mind this alignment. That's what. But yeah, let me go into this and elaborate further. This thing only has 7 buy orders and 17 sell orders. This thing is not going anywhere. And if you look at its market, it's been flatlining. It's been flatlining for a very long time, which just goes to show that this is not a good thing to invest in. It just That's just how the market works. It's not a very popular weapon, so it flatlines, and that's just how that works. And there was something I was additionally going to say about this, but slipped my mind. Let's move on to the next major market, major tactic to make money. I've talked about flipping. I've talked about crafting. I've talked about uranium. Let's talk about let's say future predicting, so to say. That's kind of a broad term, but I'm gonna quickly add my. I'm gonna, I'll just show an example. Like, go to engineers, go to their crafting. This relic, the Helicon. Helicon is a new relic that came out, and with it being new, it's gonna be very expensive. And especially with the things going into it being stuff like that, they changed that to heathers. I might have to build another one of these if I've already got some of the parts. But anyway, with it being a limited time crafting thing, it might be a sensible idea to think that, oh, I can, well, the thing has gone way down, but it might be a sensible idea to think, oh, I can craft it while it's limited, and then when this limited time crafting is over, I can then in turn sell it for an advantage, some higher price, which you know, this would be a poor example of that, but like another example would be the Stillwind. I don't have one in my inventory at the moment, so I can't show you an example. And also, actually, yeah, I'll pull it up in the market. I'll pull it up in the market real quick. It used to be one of the most popular. No, I don't see it at all. Oh, sold for men. That's why it's nowhere to be seen. Stillwind, the most expensive legendary, and has consecutively been the most expensive. I have bought these things for 8k and I have sold them before for 16k. These weapons, the Stillwinds, I'll be honest, they are a golden ticket. They flatline for a very long time. Let me sort by 2 weeks. They flatline for a long time, but the return on investment is such a large amount, it makes it worth it. But right now, not a good time. Well, okay. With legendaries and things like this, you'll want to buy when it's low. See these low points like 9 or like, lower points below the average, you want to buy for low, and then instead of immediately once you get it, put it back on the market. Instead, you want to wait for the market to alternate in some way. Like right now, it would be a good idea to buy still wins while they're cheap because what's going to happen is we got this event going on called Foxy's Secrets that lets you craft a lot of things that are like limited, like the Amamori. That's why. Okay, the still wind, not okay. I was incorrect about the still wind. I thought the still wind was here, but it is not. It is the Amamori that I was thinking of. I don't know why I got that mixed up. But the Amamori right now sells for. It does sell for a high price because it is used in the crafting of the Helicon. But this event is here, which means that right now it's at a slightly lower price than what it would be. That's why it's at 7k here. If we go to trade, we can see in the past 2 weeks it'll reflect that. You see how it bumps up to 13k and then it goes all the way down to like 6 and sometimes even like down to here about 5k? That's because this event is going on. And while this is a crafting component for the Helicon, there's an event going on making this no longer a limited item for the time being. You can craft it, get all of it, makes it a little cheaper. When there's more access to something, it becomes cheaper. That's just how that works. And especially with all these soul orders, it might be a good idea to craft one. But craft one or buy it for really cheap and then wait for this event to end and then wait for the price to go up and sell. That's just how that works. But you do have to keep in mind the Alma Mori is not a widely. I mean, it is a very use. It is very widely used in high power score, but not low power score. So you do got to keep in mind about a third of your player base is not going to be interested in this at all. So just something to keep in mind because you could turn profit. Like let's imagine that you got this for this lowest point. You got it for like 5K. Let's be a little more generous. Not generous, realistic. You got it for 7.8, which is right now way above the buy. And then you turn around, waited a while, and then it rose up to about 12K or so, or maybe even higher. But I'm just gonna say 12K or 11K. That's a lot of profit. That is a lot of profit if you make it off of one thing. But it is an investment. It is a time investment. You have to wait on this, and you also need to watch the market very attentively. So that's just that is a couple little things. These are what I'm talking about mainly are the stepping stones to getting into relic territory. And I've been playing Crossout since the game dropped. Since it released on Xbox, I've been playing. I've got the six in my donut. If you don't know what that means, it's basically I will quickly show because I know it doesn't make any sense. If you go to your banner and then banner background, nope, banner logo. Sorry for the cut. I was looking for this, but also I was having some connection issues again. But when I say the six in the donut, this is what I'm referring to because this is a reward you got during Crossout Day, but the six in it represents how many years you've been playing Crossout. And for right now on Xbox, this is the maximum number you can get because that's how long Crossout has been around on Xbox, 6 years. So that just lets you know that I've been playing since the start, and I've never ever partaken in. I mean, I have done clan battles before. I will state that, but I've only done six. So, and I've got 83K. So I'm not lying when I'm talking about the market. I did not make money off uranium to get this. And so I will go ahead and state that this 83K, you think, you've been playing for 6 years and only got 83K? I will say, no. I have not been playing for this. I earned this in about the past like 2 months. And I have not been playing for the past couple of weeks. The past 2 months, I accumulated this much money by just doing these tactics I'm talking about. And let me get into a few more that are easier for newer players to get a hold of because I know that a lot of people don't have money to work off of. But in Crossout, keep in mind, having money makes it way easier to make money. Let's talk about one that's a crazy market right now. Not a good market, but a crazy market. You take something like the Arthron, this shotgun, which has been flatlining all day, and you would buy it for. This is a way out of crazy price. Do not buy it for that. You'd buy it for some price like this, turn around and sell it for a slightly higher price. That is essentially what flipping in the market is. It's very risky. You gotta know the market extremely well. You gotta know trends more than the 2 weeks. You're gonna have to know that. This is still a bad example of an investment. It's got 19 buy orders and barely any sell orders. This is perfect? By my description earlier, this would seem like a perfect example. Other than it's been flatlining forever. If something's flatlining for such a long time like this, I've seen relics that sell more in days. If something's been flatlining for this long and it's an epic, you should not invest. Dude, that is a big red flag. Do not invest. You see 19, but you see only two sell orders. Because there's such little sell orders, they can just set any crazy price. No one is gonna pay 3K for one this mediocre epic. No one's gonna do that. Well, I mean, maybe someone will. I don't know, but it's very unlikely. What would be a sensible idea would be to try and buy it at this price, which is still not. I mean, it is technically below the average, but I would not do it being there is, most of these buy orders are not actually people invested in the gun or people interested in the weapon. They're people that are trying to make money. I would not invest in this, but you could buy it, wait a long time, and then sell it for probably a 300 coin profit, maybe a little less, maybe probably around 200. But that is how it works. That is the market for you. And then, oh my goodness, Screen Tear Central. Let me just go to my storage and I'll quickly talk a little bit more. I want to discuss further things that you should be aware of. You'll see a lot of YouTubers say pulling up giant, spreadsheets and stuff. You don't need to use spreadsheets to get incredibly wealthy in the market. You don't need to use spreadsheets, but they are useful. They can really make you they can make you like a lot of money. What I've shown you is how you step from epic into legendary and relic territory. I've given you the tools, and build off it. You will do it as you want. But I will tell you this right now, using fuel barrels, playing matches, and doing raids is not gonna make you money. I mean, it will make you money, yes, it will, in a literal sense, it will make you money, but it's way too slow. I mean, do your raids for plastic to um, craft things if you're just a couple things short, or do some wire raids just in your free time, but don't expect to be making money off this. This is why I used to run, my builds had to have both fuel barrels or I wouldn't run it. No, I don't run any fuel barrels. I mean, if I do, I'm just doing it because why not? Or it's an old build. But I just don't run fuel barrels anymore because one, I haven't mounted so much fuel, and two, it's not necessary. The 200 daily fuel you get is worth plenty. It's plenty of fuel for the day. And you could turn around and sell the fuel, which is not a bad idea. I would not. I'm not sure. I don't sell my fuel. I could, but I don't. I'm just amassing it so I can keep doing raids just whenever. I like having a ton of fuel, so if I've done all my raids and for some reason, I want to do another, I can. That's just because that's something I like. And then another thing to think about when you're doing this market stuff is to think about what is your end goal. What are you mainly after? Are you after like a legendary build or a relic build? A relic build is going to take you about 2 months to get a full relic build, not including things like hovers and stuff, and none of this is going to be upgraded. But for me, I just want some very simple things like a heather build. I like the heather. I'd rather have a heather build or a triple synthesis build, a double Emily. I got the Emily's when they were cheap though. And you gotta sort of set in your mind what you want because let's say you want a relic build, you gotta realize how much time and effort you're gonna have to put into that. It's a lot, and you really gotta think about it. But aside from that, the final thing I will be discussing in this video is how do people make money in the past? Because in the past, you could always do these tactics, obviously, but you'll see people with fully just upgraded tons of relics that have like they'll have they've been playing since the start. That's because of something called relic containers. I'm not gonna bother showing these on the market. I'm sure you can tell what it is. It's a relic. It's a container that has a chance of having a relic in it. And I used to be able to craft those for very cheap and spam them. I unfortunately did not get on that spam train, so I did not make mad money off it. That is how a lot of people got a lot of money, and this money then trickled down to newer players because giving money to players is not unheard of in Crossout. And so that's another thing to keep in mind. If you see someone with way less time and they have way more stuff, they might have just gotten it as like a handout, or maybe they're spending stuff on a game. Another useful piece of information is to look at your market. And a lot of players don't know you can do this, but when you go to your history, you can see who is selling you stuff or who you're buying stuff from. And that's really good because then you can see how many market things they've got. It's a good idea to know the type of people that are buying your things. Or the type of people that are selling you things. Are they people with a ton of market purchases? If so, you might want to reconsider what you're doing because a ton of market purchases can indicate that they are running the market too, and they might be, you might be falling for their trick. Some people will think, okay, it looks like a good idea to invest in this or craft this, so I'm going to sell a ton of the items that are into that. You get what I'm saying? It's a good idea to look at the type of audience that you're selling things to. But that's something that's totally optional. It's not that important. It's just something. But yeah, that is everything I wanted to talk about. Excuse this random build I've got here. This is just a build I'm gonna do for a video later. But yeah, those are the easiest things that I can relay just in a couple, like in a quick video. Anything more than that, I'd probably have to talk about in like with a list in front of me. I did have a list in front of me for that other stuff, and I recited, but I would need a lot more time to talk about other things. And so that's, I guess, I gotta be the end of the video. Bye bye.